back to our channel. Today is a fantastic day to explore the madness of Genoa. We're so glad you're here with us because our minds are completely spinning. We really can't wait to say this. Are Jack's new moves too daring? The storyline will deliver incredibly exciting and thrilling drama. We really need to talk about the absolute chaos unfolding on screen. I cannot believe they are actually going there with this Jack and Patty storyline. I mean, I am sitting here staring at my screen, completely paralyzed by what Jack Abbott is about to do. And I know we all saw the writing on the wall when Patty Williams first slithered her way back into his orbit, but seeing it play out on screen, that is actual psychological torture. I am literally screaming at my television right now. Jack is actually letting Patty move into the Abbott mansion. He kicked Tracy and Kyle out. Tracy Abbott, the absolute saint and moral compass of Genoa City, forced to pack her bags and leave her family home because of this delusional psychopath. I am so stressed out I can barely type. But I have to vent because this storyline is pushing every single one of my buttons, and I know I am not the only one losing their mind over it in the forums. Okay, wait, let me back up and catch my breath for a second. Let's look at the cold, hard facts of what is actually happening. Jack is backed into the most horrifying, impossible corner imaginable. Diane is missing, held hostage by that creepy Dr. Lawrence Markham in some weird barred window house, and Jack has finally figured out that Patty is the true mastermind pulling all the strings. So what does he do? He decides to play the ultimate game of psychological chess. He is faking a romance with Patty to get intel. He literally looked her in the eye and committed to a future with her. He promised her his mind, body, soul, and heart. I mean, the acting from Peter Bergman in these scenes is absolutely top tier. But watching Jack pretend to be swept off his feet by the woman who has terrorized his family for decades is making me physically ill. Because we all know Patty is not just going to settle for holding hands and drinking cocktails at society. And can we talk about Patty's absolute delusion for a second? She actually sat there and claimed she is a patient woman. Patient? In what universe is Patty Williams patient? She literally demanded that Jack clear out his entire mansion so she could have him all to herself. There is zero patience in her actions. She is aggressively, relentlessly pursuing him, and she is treating this like some kind of twisted fairy tale where she finally gets her handsome prince. She is completely ignoring the reality of the situation, which is what makes her so incredibly dangerous. I have been watching this show religiously since 2015, and I have seen some crazy villains come and go, but Patty's brand of unhinged, obsessive infatuation is on a whole different level. She is a ticking time bomb, and Jack is just sitting there in an empty mansion with her, playing with absolute fire. So here is the massive, glaring, neon red problem that is keeping me awake right now. It is only a matter of time, probably like 5 minutes in soap opera time, before Patty demands they take this romantic adventure up to the bedroom. She is going to want to recreate the magic of what happened on that yacht. Just typing that makes me want to vomit, because there was absolutely no magic on that yacht. It was a complete and utter nightmare. Jack was drugged out of his mind, completely compromised, and manipulated by Victor Newman's sick plot using Patty as the weapon. He was not in his right mind, and that horrific encounter was the catalyst for this entire marital crisis with Diane. Patty thinks it was this beautiful romantic connection, but it was abuse, plain and simple. Wait, I am getting ahead of myself again. Let's remember how we even got here to begin with. Diane walked in, saw Jack in bed with Patty, and completely lost her mind. And look, I have opinions about Diane's reaction. I mean, Diane faked her own death back in 2011 and let Jack and Kyle mourn her violent murder for an entire decade. She is the absolute queen of manipulation and deceit. But somehow, she could not find an ounce of grace or understanding for Jack when he was literally the victim of a drugging and a kidnapping. It makes my blood boil just thinking about the hypocrisy, but still, the damage is done. Diane is furious. Their marriage is hanging by a thread, And now Jack is faced with the most impossible choice in the world. Because if Patty demands they sleep together now, Jack is completely sober. He is fully aware of what he is doing. If he gives in and goes to bed with Patty to maintain his cover and keep her happy, he is making a conscious, sober choice. And yes, he would be doing it to save Diane's life, but do we really think Diane is going to see it that way? Nope, not a chance in hell. Diane is currently fighting for her sanity against Dr. Markham, realizing that Patty is the one paying him off. When she finally gets rescued, and she better get rescued soon, she is going to be incredibly traumatized. But if she finds out Jack slept with Patty again, even as a sacrifice to save her from captivity, she is going to absolutely scorch the earth. I know some people in the forums are loving this dark, desperate Jack era. I see the tweets saying Jack is doing what it takes. And this is true love. He is sacrificing everything, but personally, I am dreading it. If Jack sleeps with Patty again, it is the absolute end of his marriage to Diane. There is no coming back from that. You cannot just explain away sleeping with your wife's kidnapper, who also happens to be your former abuser. It would permanently break whatever fragile trust they have left. Jack could argue until he is blue in the face that he did what was necessary for Diane's sake. But Diane's pride and her trauma simply will not allow her to forgive another passionate encounter between Jack and Patty. It would be the ultimate deal breaker, the final nail in the coffin for their relationship. And let's talk about the psychological toll this is taking on Jack. I mean, imagine being in his shoes right now. He is sitting in his quiet, empty family home, staring at the woman who has caused him so much pain, knowing he has to smile and play the loving partner. He has to pretend he wants her. He has to suppress every instinct screaming at him to run or to strangle her, just so he can figure out where his wife is hidden. It is so dark. It is so incredibly dark for Y and R, and I am both captivated and horrified by it. How far is Jack willing to go? Will he actually cross that line? I am literally praying to the soap gods that he finds a way to outsmart her before she drags him upstairs to the master bedroom. Remember when Victor tried to control Patty? Yeah, didn't work then either. Victor thought he could just buy her off, put her in nice clothes, give her a luxury suite, and keep her on a tight leash. But Patty is a total wild card. She doesn't play by anyone's rules but her own twisted ones. Jack thinks he has the upper hand right now because he is acting, but Patty is highly perceptive in her own weird, delusional way. If Jack hesitates, if he flinches when she touches him, she is going to know. And if she figures out he is playing her, Diane's life is instantly forfeit. The stakes have literally never been higher for the Abbott family. So what is the alternative here? Jack needs a miracle. He needs to somehow trick Patty, maybe get her drunk, or find a way to hack into her phone while she is distracted. He needs to find Dr. Markham's location or the address of that creepy house before Patty forces his hand. I am desperately hoping that Detective James Burrow or even Kyle can find a clue on the outside while Jack stalls on the inside. Jack needs to get the news he needs to save Diane and leave Patty with nothing but unfulfilled desires. Let her burn with the realization that she was played. She deserves nothing less after everything she has done. But honestly, watching Kyle and Tracy's reactions to this whole mess has been breaking my heart into a million pieces. Kyle is already so frantic about his mother missing. He knows she wouldn't just abandon her job at Jabot or miss Harrison's play. He knows something is terribly wrong. And Tracy, oh Tracy has been the rock of this family forever. Seeing her confront Patty at the coffee house, calling out Dr. Markham, and then having to vacate her own home, it is infuriating. Jack had to play the bad guy and tell them not to complicate things during this secret family meeting, but you can see the absolute agony in his eyes. He hates doing this to his family, but he genuinely believes it is the only way to save the woman he loves. And let's talk about Diane's side of this nightmare. I mean, she is locked in a room with a literal madman. Dr. Lawrence Markham is sitting there eating her food, threatening her with other methods if talk therapy doesn't work. It is straight out of a horror movie. But you know what I actually love about this? Diane is not just playing the helpless victim. She is using her brain. She realized that Markham is being paid off. She figured out Patty is the one pulling the strings, and she is actively fighting back. She even faked a psychological breakthrough just to stroke Markham's ego. She changed her clothes, acted like she was making progress, and begged to stay at his private house instead of a clinic. She is playing the game just as hard as Jack is, and I am totally here for it. Diane Jenkins Abbott is a survivor, and she is proving it right now. But the tragedy is that Diane has absolutely no idea what Jack is doing to save her. She doesn't know that Jack had to sit down at society with Patty, clinking champagne glasses and toasting to their wonderful romantic adventure. Can you imagine? Abby was there, completely disgusted, until Jack pulled her aside to explain he was just trying to get intel. But still, the optics of it are nauseating. Jack is out in public, parading the woman who kidnapped his wife just to keep the ruse going. And Patty is eating it up. She giggled about it being old-school courting, giggled. The woman is a menace to society, and she is sitting there giggling over cocktails while Diane is locked behind bars. And I am still so incredibly furious at Victor Newman for starting this entire chain of events. I mean, none of this would be happening if Victor hadn't decided to play God with Jack's life. Victor brought Patty onto that yacht. Victor orchestrated the drugging. Victor set the stage for Diane to walk in and see her husband in bed with a psychopath. Victor Newman's obsession with destroying Jack Abbott has literally put Diane's life in danger, and he is just sitting in his ranch acting like he is untouchable. I swear, if Victor doesn't face some kind of massive consequence for unleashing Patty Williams back into the world, I am going to scream. He unleashed a monster, and now Jack is the one who has to clean up the mess. I am just so conflicted because I love the drama, but I hate the anxiety it is giving me. Am I the only one who feels like they need a blood pressure pill after these episodes? The writers are really pushing Jack to the absolute brink. I mean, we are talking about a man who has battled addiction, lost loved ones, and fought corporate wars, but this psychological warfare with Patty Williams is his greatest test. He is walking a tightrope over a volcano. If he leans too far into the fake romance, he destroys his marriage. If he pulls away too much, Patty realizes he's faking and Diane pays the ultimate price. I am officially predicting that Jack will not sleep with Patty. I just cannot see the show going through with it because it would be too destructive to his character and to the fact relationship. I think Jack is going to play a brilliant stalling game. He is going to use his charm, maybe pretend he wants to wait for the perfect moment, and use that time to snoop. He has to. Because if he doesn't, and he actually goes through with it, I might actually have to take a break from the show. Okay, maybe not a break because I am way too addicted to the drama, but I will be complaining about it loudly on every forum available. Seriously though, the dynamic between Jack, Diane, and Patty is the most compelling television right now. I just need Diane to hold on a little longer. She is proving how tough she is by fighting back against Markham's gaslighting. She isn't letting him convince her she had a breakdown. She knows she is sane. And when she finally gets out of there, the confrontation between her and Patty is going to be legendary. I just hope Jack is standing beside her as her hero, and not as the guy who slept with the enemy to get there. Anyway, I need to go try to sleep and stop obsessing over this. Let me know what you guys think, because I am losing my mind over here.